Stabilization when you show up someplace.
How would you want to correct
Good evening, it's 6:02. Welcome to the Common Council Finance and Human Resource Committee meeting. It is June 27th. Councilmember Katie LaFarge.
I'm here.
Councilmember Scott Harrington here, and Councilmember John Rackett is here. We were just provided the minutes, so I was looking at, is there any changes that you see that need to be made? If not, we can accept the minutes as provided. John, just let me know if you see any corrections that need to be made. In the meantime, we'll move on to topic A, which is the New York Main Street Stabilization Grant application for the Indiana Theater.
Okay, so we are applying in this year's consolidated funding application, which is due July 29th, for a New York Main Street Stabilization Grant on behalf of the theater. It will be for up to $500,000. They're still working on their budget. They did this a couple years ago, and it was not funded, but they've taken steps to improve the vacancies, so they have a better position relative to ownership and their finances, so I think it looks a lot better. There will be a match to be determined as well. The Indiana Theater will provide the match, so there's no funds involved other than our grant writers working on it with them again.
So that's usually about 5%, right?
What's that?
The grant writers.
His fee could be $3,500 or so. Since he already did one, it's probably not going to be quite that much, and it comes out of our retainer that we have for them, or for him. So that we're looking to have moved up to council so that we can get the authorizing resolution all set.
Is this money that they could use for maybe a new marquee?
No, actually, this is going to be stabilization money, so it's going to be for the roof issues, they have water issues, whatever else they find inside. So it's stabilization. The next step would be, after that gets done or well underway, then we can apply in the future on their behalf for other funding to actually renovate the building. And in that next step, the marquee could be included.
Okay.
But it's not a stabilization issue. This is to really get into what the building needs to just be made, to stand there.
Sure.
While we're getting funding put together for everything else.
And so we have to do this one, and both of them have to be in sequence? We cannot do both at the same time?
Well, under New York Main Street, you can only apply for one of their programs. So there's a stabilization, there's a downtown anchor, so that's likely going to be a future grant for them, opportunity. There's the target area, so that can be a number of buildings within a certain area in the downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a planning grant. So you can only apply for one of those in any given funding round per year. And they compete with other projects that might be going in for New York Main Street as well. But this year there weren't any other ones that were ready to go. And this is a good project to submit.
You're working with Bob Brzezowski on this?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Any other questions for Judy? Anyone objecting to moving that up to full council? No.
Okay.
So I'm excited. I hope we get it.
Judy, you taking topic B?
Yep. All right. So we're also looking to apply for a Brownfield Opportunity Areas Program. This is also in the CFA and would be due at the end of July. This is funded by the Department of State. It is quite a large planning program that we could tap into. It's intended, you don't necessarily have to have a brownfield as defined by DEC, but this money is intended to help communities address areas where they might have slum and blight, or they might just have areas that are not developed and need a kickstart to get developed. So we're looking at applying, you can apply for up to $300,000. It's a 90% grant with a 10% match. That amount is to be determined. We just got started talking about it and talking to our grant writer about it. So we'll be narrowing down how much we're actually going to be applying for, but we can go for that much. The intention of it is to be able to look at your areas, like I said, and then if you get this funding, you put together a brownfields opportunity area plan that has to be approved by the state, and then it lines you up for additional assistance, so like phase 2 environmental site assessments. It can help you with your pre-development activities on a project. On actual development projects once you get going. We would be doing it, and a lot of communities, when they get this, they also get the local waterfront revitalization plan, which we already have. That's already going out. We're going to be working on that. But the work on the Brownfield Opportunity Area Program will also be tied in with what we're doing on the local waterfront plan as well. We'll be thinking about that as we're getting the LWRP done. The areas that we're considering applying for would be our opportunity zone. That includes the south side of Main Street, Newell Park, Market Street, and the rail yards. And then the other area we're looking at is another census tract, which is in the Wells Avenue and Factory Street area, which we feel that is prime for development there, and also can tie into the LWRP because it's close to the river. So that we're right now just working on what we're doing and what we're going to say in the application, but we're also looking for that to go up to council as well.
So is this an opportunity that we can work with private landowners, or is this strictly public?
No, we would be looking at the private properties in those areas. This program would allow us to be able to do site testing and do environmental assessments and determine if we actually have brownfields in those areas. But if not, it will help us identify what the blight is and possible solutions. So it seems like a really good planning process as our next step for what, trying to develop some of these areas.
Any other questions?
I'm especially excited about the Wells Ave area and the potential to tie that into the river revitalization program. That's awesome.
We'll move that up to full council. Topic C.
We would be happy to talk about that if you would like us to.
Yeah.
So we had a civil service list that was established last year. As you all know, we gave the test in September. We'll be giving it again. We had a couple of additional candidates that were left. The chief's intention was to process a first round of candidates in the spring for a spring academy. If you recall, I'm looking it up to see, at that time we had hired three, and we kept one. So we have one candidate out of the 3 that we hired in the spring who is at the academy, doing well by all accounts, going to be released on a field training in October. Right. So now we have processed the remaining candidates, and we would like to recommend a hire. It's a full-time budgeted hire for an existing vacancy. That would leave us with one actual vacancy in the department still. This candidate would start on July 18th. To go to the Zone 5 Police Academy.
Starts on the 25th.
On the 25th in Schenectady. So Very qualified. This is teamwork.
It's really good. You guys should take it on the road.
This is just how we do things here in the city, obviously. So, yeah, it's a very qualified hire. I mean, we've been through a rigorous background check process, including a background investigation, psychological evaluation, medical review, drug test, all that, the stuff we typically do. So, and Zone 5, I mean, typically the chief prefers to send people to the Broome County Law Enforcement Academy out in Binghamton, but he has also successfully used the Zone 5 Law Enforcement Academy. It's vetted, it's a great second option, and given the staffing needs of the department, we would see no reason not to make this recommendation.
It's also an abridged academy. It's, they don't get into quite as much detail, so they'll come back, or the one candidate will come back lacking some things like radar and LiDAR, which is laser detecting and ranging, breath test operator, standardized field sobriety testing, taser. But those are things that we can either A, do in-house, or B, send him away to some trainings at Broome County to backfill those. The nice thing is this candidate will be ready for field training roughly at the same time that our recruit from Broome will be ready for field training. So they'll be exiting the academy at the same time and both able to fill vacancies for the department, existing vacancies within the department by early next year.
Question?
Starting negotiated salary is $41,000 per the PBA contract.
Question?
Yeah, I appreciate, Chief, that you elaborated on the types of trainings that they don't receive in this sort of abridged version. Obviously, I trust your judgment, both of you. I think for me, like, the hesitation that's kind of bubbling up in my gut is just in terms of missing out on those pieces of training because of this other. So as long as there's a plan in place, which I'm sure that you have, to backfill, like you said, that training, then I see no reason.
There is, the one that I would be hesitant on would be taser, but we have in-house taser instructors, so we'll be able to backfill that immediately.
Okay.
The other things like standardized field sobriety testing, radar, and breath test operator, he'll be assigned to the midnight shift, so there'll be somebody else that will have those trainings, and they'll be working together with him. So he's not going to be creating a deficit within the department at all. He'll be creating he'll be very new and with a senior officer, so he'll have somebody there to gain some perspective and training from while he's working.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that.
So I guess my only question is why one?
I would recommend it for hire.
Yeah, out of all of the candidates that we came up with, we hired the ones that we were most comfortable with right off the bat. He was in a tie position, and we had to make a choice based on vacancies as to who we were going to take on at that time. We hired the three, and at that point, because of the nature of hiring for us, and the late start to the game because of New York State's return of the results, wouldn't allow us to get him into Broome County Academy. So we had to kind of change gears and plan for the July start of the Zone 5.
So even when these two come online in October, you'll still be one position down?
That's correct. We've exhausted our list at this point with those who we feel comfortable giving the opportunity to.
Thank you. Topic D.
I guess I'll continue on with this one. So we have, as I believe the city administrator had previously reported, we have a vacancy in the accounting office due to a resignation earlier in the year. So after a thorough search, we have found an excellent qualified candidate. Her name is Stephanie Decker. And she has accepted tentatively, pending council approval, our offer as a finance coordinator. It's the same function, just filling in a bit of a different title in an effort to kind of have the person function a little bit more broadly, have the ability to help out in a lot of different areas in the finance office. So the starting salary in the admin manual, it's an A2, so it'll be $50,000, and we'll be looking for a start date of July 11th.
So on that scale, where does that land us? I honestly don't remember.
I believe that an A2 is 50 to 65, so we're starting at the hiring rate for this hire.
Was this the position last year when we filled it that we entered into some kind of special negotiations with some of our vacation. Is this that same position?
It's that same position, yes, but that was specific, those arrangements were specific to that candidate, so those left with her. So we are comfortable with what's in the admin manual.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So the position that was vacated and the new position, could you tell me, I guess I don't have to follow my question. Could you tell me a little bit more about the differences and also in terms of the starting salary of the position that was vacated versus the position that we're hiring to?
So I guess I'll start with the salary. So the position, the person who resigned was earning 50, so it's budget neutral. It's what is budgeted for the position, so it's no more or less. I mean, the person, I think that the real benefit to us when we're looking to recruit positions right now, when we have labor shortages, is to cast a broad net in terms of our recruitment strategy. So when we're looking for an accountant, typically we're looking for someone only with a degree in accounting, whether it's a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. We have trouble recruiting people of that type of background. So in order to cast the broadest net possible to yield a pool from which to select, we advertise for both an accountant as an anticipated vacancy, and we received 2 applications. And then we also advertise simultaneously for a finance coordinator, which allows for a bit of a different set of minimum qualifications, like, you can have a degree in business, and it really counts more. We look more at real life on-the-job experience in that title than we do with an accountant, where that's really based on the education requirement. So for the finance coordinator title that we advertise simultaneously, same method, same platform, same everything, and we got 3 times as many applicants. So it kind of proved to me that we need to be, when we have a job to fill that we know is going to be difficult to fill, we just kind of have to cast that broad net. So Jenny can talk a little bit more about specifically what this person would be doing.
Okay. No, well, if you would like to, yeah.
They'll be doing, this person will be doing many, a large majority of the same job duties as the accountant does. But she'll just be doing less of accounting detail work. So it's just, but I foresee her talent being able to progress in that area. But she'll be, working on cash and water and sewer billings and accounts payable and accounts receivable and payroll and retirement reports and things like that. So, she'll be doing a vast majority of the duties that the previous person was doing, just a little bit less of the accounting side.
Gotcha. And you feel confident that with the staff that you have currently to be able to fill in for those accounting duties?
Yes.
Great. Okay, that's great. Thank you guys for taking the time to explain. That makes total sense about past departments.
I should mention too, this will be the first time we've hired in this title, so there will also be, I don't know if it'll be a separate motion, probably a separate motion where the council formally adopts the position, which is a requirement of the charter, because finance coordinator has not been used in the city before.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Becky?
We have a candidate to recommend for hire in an existing budgeted vacancy in the code enforcement office. This is a CSEA grade 5 position, starting salary of $31,766. The name of the candidate is Gwyneth Germond, and she will be filling a pretty busy and much needed role in the code enforcement office. The position became vacant through the promotion of Sarah Plynell earlier in the year to community development assistant, helping Judy. So this position is filling the job that was vacated by Sarah. We expect that the candidate will work very closely with Sarah in training, and we're very glad to have her coming on board pending council approval.
Salary range?
That one is negotiated $31,766. It's in the CSEA manual, so it would be subject to, I think, just the 2% and the negotiated steps thereafter.
Questions?
Cool.
Topic F?
So Jenny and I have been trying to brainstorm ways to save money on our health insurance plan, because obviously it's a large percentage of our budget. So Jenny and I, had a conversation, kind of kicked around some ideas, talked with our staff members to see All right.
Eyelash.
Oh, okay, I was concerned for you for a minute. So just trying to find ways to kind of, save money where we can, and one idea that was recommended to us through our broker, Taylor Fire and Coon, is to do a Medicare eligibility audit in which they would look at under 65 retirees and review census information in an attempt to determine if any of those people are eligible for Medicare through disability or other qualifying reasons, which would then move them from an active PPO plan, which is significantly more expensive, to a much cheaper Medicare plan. So over the life of each of these individuals, that would be tens of thousands of dollars in savings for the city. So how the contract works, there was a copy provided in your packet. I believe it's with a company, a third-party vendor called Allsup. The city attorney has reviewed the contract and found no issues with it. It is a zero liability contract, which means that the city is not on the hook for a fee unless this company is able to successfully identify and assist with the transfer of the member over to a Medicare plan. So it's $2,500 per person, which of course the savings is more than offsets based on the cost. So even if, Jenny and I, between the two of us, just based on our general knowledge of our under 65 retiree population, we can each think of an example where we suspect there might be Medicare eligibility, but we lack the on-staff knowledge and expertise to really assist the people in doing that. So I make it clear that while I'm proposing this as a cost savings, there's also a direct benefit to the person. I mean, they're paying a lot more for an insurance plan they don't need, and then they'll receive assistance in transitioning to a Medicare plan, which, if they're eligible, it's an entitlement, and that's where they belong. So we would like you to consider allowing us to go through with this to see if there's a way we can save a little bit of money.
So there's an upfront cost in terms of this?
No upfront cost. It's $0 to us, Katie. I'm sorry I didn't explain that well.
Yeah, no, I'm not understanding it.
So there's no upfront cost to the city. The only time a cost would be incurred is if the company is able to identify and then successfully transition the person to a Medicare plan, which means the cost savings is already a guarantee for us at that point.
Yeah, you did make that clear. My brain just didn't click in that way. So I guess my question is that when they successfully find someone that they're going to transfer to Medicare, there is a cost to the city that comes from the already budgeted healthcare personal services line. Right. Jenny's like, no, but it's already budgeted and
It's budgeted within our health insurance budget.
Okay.
And we would just end up transferring it to purchase services.
Excellent. Okay. That was my question.
Be paid for by future savings as well. So.
Right. Yeah. That sounds great.
So knowing nothing about Medicare, you're saying that it's close to the same types of benefits. So the retiree is going to look at Medicare and what they used to get or still get through their PPO, and the benefits are the same?
The benefits are nearly identical. They just, so people become eligible for Medicare one of two ways. You turn 65, at which point there's Part A, which is hospitalization, B, which is your doctor, going to your doctor visits, Part C, I can't remember, and Part D is prescription drug. So we have when you turn 65 automatically, unless you are an active employee, Medicare becomes your primary insurer, and then the city offers a supplemental Medicare plan, which is called a Medicare Advantage plan. It acts, walks, talks, operates a lot like a PPO plan, so it's a copay basis. So our plan, which is where the cost savings come in, becomes the secondary payer to Medicare. So to answer the question, there are some differences in benefits. Some of them are actually a little bit richer even than some of the benefits that we offer through our traditional PPO plans, like there's hearing aid coverage and things like that there really isn't available through the PPO plan. So I do not see where this would put any retiree, any member at any sort of disadvantage, because there is a lot of similarity between the plans.
Any other questions?
Can I ask a question? don't know if it's appropriate. Len, are you a city retiree?
I am.
Okay. So do you have to abstain from this?
No, it's not talking about me personally.
Okay. Okay.
It's not something that's directly to me.
Right, sorry. Just a process question. Yeah, thank you.
If I may, I have one additional insurance matter, somewhat related. Through the course, it's not on the agenda, but just through the course of these discussions, I mentioned to Greg, and he agreed that perhaps we wanted to suggest to you that our brokers are happy and willing to come and give a presentation to the council about our benefit plans and just answer any questions you might have, just because it's such a large percentage of the city's budget. So if that's something that you're interested in, just let me know, whether it's at the committee level or the full council level. They have indicated a willingness to do that.
How many months lead time do they need?
We have tentatively targeted the August 2nd council meeting, if it's something that you are interested in doing.
I would say yes, but I just want to make sure with Jenny and Greg that the budget talks, discussions.
Yeah, I think she's looking at the regular August 2nd meeting. We don't have specific budget meetings planned yet, but typically we'll do like special meetings. So I don't think it'll be a major impact. I imagine a 10, 15-minute presentation probably. I think August 2nd work.
Anybody saying no? I would say for the full council, I'll just start. Topic G.
So we're looking to request that the council approve a stipend for anyone that obtains electrical license certification through the city electrical board. I think we're looking for a $500 stipend. This is a good thing because the person with this certification will be able to perform electrical work for the city, do minor circuitry work, replacing outlets, putting new outlets in, light switches, lighting. Actually had a person recently, Gene Russell, obtained electrical certification through the city, and we would like to give him a $500 stipend. It saves the city money because anytime we have to hire an electrician to come and perform this type of work, we're looking at least $500 to $1,000 for simple electrical work. So he does this, he could do this on various renovation projects. And
Yeah, it's really an opportunity to take advantage of some skills that somebody has that isn't, those skills are not required by their job description, and it's an added value to the city, saves us money.
It's kind of like the deployment license.
Yeah, very similar to the master plan license.
pool certificate, the pool operator.
Pool operators, there's a few others.
Questions? Topic H.
So in your packets, you have a copy of a proposed resolution that was drafted and then approved by the city attorney. It's the first step in our process to move forward to allowing on a limited basis hybrid meetings. I say limited because right now, the suggestion of myself and the city attorney are to start with the common council, as that can be done simply with a public hearing or resolution. Anything that we move forward to any committees, boards, or commissions will require local law. With the approval of the council, we would move on to drafting meeting policies and procedures, which would have to be in effect. We would then hold a public hearing to solicit input from the community, and then this could be set into motion to allow for remote attendance of council members at meetings.
Questions?
Thanks for doing this work.
Full council. Topic I.
This should be our final change order on the electrical contract for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade. Trefson has done that work. We're bringing this to you tonight because the change, which is about just over $6,000, is for site lighting upgrades. Because the total changes on this contract total more than 10% of the original contract. So that's a total of $206,000 on a $1,397,000 contract. So it's about 14%. That's greater than 10%, so per our purchasing policy, we have to come through and explain this change to this committee. If the finance committee approves, then we can go forward with the change without having to go to full council for approval, because we're still within our overall project budget. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think we've done a couple of these before.
How much did you say this was, $6,000?
Just $6,000. Basically replacing some exterior lights in the parking lot around the plant.
And this is something that our architect didn't notice?
It's a nice to get it done while we can. We got a little bit left in the budget sort of thing. The lights aren't out, but they're not LED now. We make them more efficient. So it wasn't the top priority, but given some savings on the contract, we're able to get it done. So we'd like to get it in there.
Yes.
Scott?
Sounds good to me.
So this will be our council this time. We'll just go.
I'm just gonna do it.
Jay?
As you all know, you've got a copy in your packet, but also we talked about this in the spring. There is a state program for low-income household water assistance. And I was not informed that the city had to become a vendor for this program. I thought that the homeowners applied on their own. They do apply, but they will not be paid until the city becomes a member of this. So we need to, I showed the agreement to Dave Merzick, and he said this needed council's approval for the city to become a member of this program. So we just need your approval to take it up to council. And then once council approves it, we'll register with the state, and then all the applications that they're holding for the city of Oneonta will then be paid to us.
Questions? Is there any back cost to us?
No, there's no cost to this program. We just have to actually just register as a vendor. We're already registered with New York State as a vendors. I'm not sure why we have to do it again, but I will get all of those details when I contact the actual program themselves. But there's no cost to this.
I'm thinking about folks that generally do this. Are they the ones that end up losing their house, and then we get into a situation kind of like what you described to us a month or two ago, where you went up to the county, try to get some back funds for folks that owe this?
We have the people that would qualify for this program. Is that your question, Lynn?
No, I just want to make sure that, the county makes us whole.
The county makes us whole on our taxes.
Right, but our water bill, our water and sewer, if you don't pay it, it's added on to their taxes.
Correct.
So it just culminates, interest is charged, and so this will have no negative impact.
No, this will not affect the levies at all. But
That's good.
yeah.
It doesn't, that's fine. Somebody gave us money?
Yes, we have two gifts. One is actually from Destination Oneonta to go towards the movie night. It's a small donation just to make up for the budget difference. And the other one was I discovered it. I apologize. It got processed without my knowledge. So it's already been deposited, and we got it back. It was from an annual donor that we normally get. When I was working on the audit, I found it, and I said, I don't think this has been to council. It's just a normal donation. It's a $1,000 donation that we get from a local church here. But I wanted to bring it to your attention, and I would like to bring both motions to council to accept those donations.
So today, is Main Street Baptist Church the only not-for-profit that actually donates money, or is there anybody else?
I want to say that's no, we do. We do have one other that we have a pilot agreement with, and they have 4 or 5 properties, they give us a donation towards the one that they do not have a pilot agreement on. And I'll email you that.
Start on 6-1. Yeah, whenever you check. Okay. Any other questions? Do we have a need for an executive session? Katie's keeping her head down, so.
I'm sorry, no.
Not you, sorry.
Oh,
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Your head's down. Greg is not looking all right, so I'm saying no.